Folks, today we have got a fantastic guest, and she will be known by several viewers. Deborah Corn, and she has been a friend of mine for a number of years, and she's very active in the print community. And I've always said, she doesn't get the credit that she should get from the print community. But she and I have leaned on each other for a number of years, so far as for advice, and to work collaborative together. But anyway, you're going to find her very, very interesting, very, very fun. So you're really going to enjoy this show. Deborah Corn, how in the world are you?
I am yippee-I-K. Yippee-I-OK, Big Tex. I don't even know what you say down there. There in Texas.
Yippee-I-O. That's usually what it is.
Yippee-I-O-K.
No, that is sure. Let me tell you, I want to tell the audience just a little bit something about you, and then I want you to really get more in depth, about you. I've known Deborah probably for, a good, I don't know,
more than 10
years, probably
definitely
something like
more,
that.
yeah.
And we're always involved in the print community, naturally, with HP or with Canon or, any kind of print convention or show that's taking place. We always run into each other. And then I have an opportunity to be on her show. She always puts me down and sets me down. And then I get to sit on the show and talk to her. But I want to tell you something about Deborah here real quick. She's been on almost 800 podcasts. Okay. And when she started out in the world of print, I'm going to say, she was working in the ad agency group for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally she just ventured out and she says, well, I'm going to do this. So then she got out and she started basically being a consultant and an advisor. And she's got, I want to list what she's got here. She started Girls Who Print. And that's a group. Because I tried to get on one of y'all shows one time and you politely said, no, Larry, you got to hang up.
We welcome gentlemen now. We need you, actually.
Oh, I'd love to be on there. And I would. But she did that. And then the Project Peacock, she'll talk about that in a little bit. And then International Print Day, she'll talk about that in a little bit. But what really excites me more than anything, and I just found this out a couple of days ago, I think it was, she has started the only 24-hour worldwide print show, the radio show. And, it just runs and I hope to one day to have some of my shows, on her radio show, but I'd like for her to talk about that just a little bit. But she's very inventive, and outside of the box thinker. And I've always said, that Deborah Corn does not get the credit that she should get of what she has done for the print industry. She has reached out and come up with more ideas than most people that I know. But I would like for you to talk a little bit because, I'll sit here and talk all damn day. But if we can just sit here and tell everybody a little bit about you. And then I want to get into some subjects that you and I are very passionate about, and that's collaboration and also mentoring.
Thank you very much for those kind words, Larry. And coming from you, it has more meaning than you could possibly imagine. And you have been my inner champion at many organizations. When I have an idea, I'm like, Larry, they're not listening to me. Come here. I'm like, here's what I want to do. Go back, go in there and see what you can do about it. And that is so important to someone like me. And because it's very easy to be like, okay, we have a marketing budget and we need to apply it to these things that allow companies to make sales and things like that. But you can't only speak to people in that manner and treat them as a transaction. And so when I started working with companies, I wanted to make sure that there were human ways that everybody could just communicate with each other without pressure in a simple information gathering setting. And then that turned into other things along the way. So the things that I do are really for the greater industry, even though I'm helping companies along the way. When I help those companies along the way and we speak about printing, yes, we talk about their products and services, but that's not the primary focus. It's why does this matter to anybody? And if it does matter to you, the listener out there, I'm not a printer. Go do some research, but at least you know that there is potentially another tool in your tool belt. So coming from that perspective, I really built a community, not a sales targets. It is a weird situation for me because I I do teeter on those things, and sometimes people don't take me seriously, or they just think I'm fun and I'm running around doing fun things, which I am because I created my own job. So why not have a little fun along the way? But as you mentioned, it is a serious thing that is underneath it all. Now, I do have one correction. Mary Beth Smith, your fellow Texan, actually started Girls Who Print. It was a LinkedIn group, and I was the first person to join it. So she was girl number 1 and I was girl number 2.
I did not know that.
Well, here you go. You learned something. And yeehaw, shout out to Mary Beth Smith, who we always make sure everybody knows that it was her idea to start this group.
Okay.
And over the years, I invited her to the Printerverse booth that I used to have at the Graph Expo show, and Girls Who Print had a space there. And Mary Beth Smith was the face of the organization, but I was like the engine behind it, running the machine. So when Mary Beth Smith retired, she graciously passed the LinkedIn group to me, and I turned it into a the world's largest global network for women in printing, with over almost 11,600 women. And there's a couple of men in there too. And also, now it is a nonprofit organization with a membership platform and program. When it comes to Print Media Centr, what I like to say, well, I am the Intergalactic Ambassador to the Printerverse. I declared myself the ambassador, not the supreme ruler, although I am. Because who wants to talk to a supreme ruler, right? But as the ambassador, I am able, through the lens of my LinkedIn group, which also happens to be the largest in the world with almost 140,000 members. It's called Print Production Professionals. I have a vantage point that most people do not have, in the fact that I've approved every member, I've thrown out every member, I've approved every post that's ever posted in that group. And so I can see when people are needing needing answers to questions, or if they're trashing a company, because it's always about service, Larry. It's always about service. Nobody's calling me back about service. They rant for 3 paragraphs about whatever company's not calling them back, and then they say to the group, somebody help me. And I'm telling you, within 5 minutes, there's 50 answers to the problem, because it seems that printers go through a lot of the same things. So with that vantage point, I was able to work with the manufacturers and the vendors and say, look, people don't understand what inkjet is. I know you know what it is, but first it's digital printing, now it's industrial printing, then it's production inkjet printing. I'm like, you're confusing everybody. Let's, focus on keeping people informed. So while the corporations and the businesses move forward, I stay in the back and keep shoveling people forward, because marketing plans tend to leave people behind because they're always in forward motion. And if you want to figure out how to get up to the point where you're at, you have to figure it out. And when people start looking for those answers is when they find me. So I am thrilled to be part of so many people's careers now. As they grow along, they contact me for resources, and I was able to create a business communicating to helping people communicate through that ecosystem, and also reaching out to the print customers through Project Peacock, which is what you mentioned. When I first started on the dark side of this printing industry thing, which only came about because of my LinkedIn group. I was looking for a job, so I started a LinkedIn group, and all of a sudden it was like out of control. So people would ask me what I did, and I was like, I think I'm a professional networker, but I have no idea what's going on here. I'm just going to stay with it and see what happens. And it was a good decision at that time to stay with it. But the first trade show I went to, the first booth I was in was actually a Roland booth, and they had a wide format printer printing out metallic colors. And I stood there amazed. I was like, oh my God, metallic colors. And the guy, and it was a guy at the press, was just looking at me, and he's like, what is the fascination? I was like, I've never seen it before. When did this happen? And he's like, 5 years ago. The next booth, I saw something I never heard, never saw, didn't even know existed. And then I realized that all of the years that I bought print for more than 25 years in giant advertising agencies, I was beholden to my printers and the technology they had. And unless I didn't even realize there were other technologies. And when they said, oh, you don't want to do it that way, I was just like, okay, well, you're the expert. That's probably why we don't want to do it that way. And then you come to find out, maybe they don't want to do it that way because they don't have that piece of equipment. So
That's
they
right.
can't do it that way. And it was certainly around digital printing. Oh, you don't want to do that. And when digital printing first came out, you were literally there when it happened.
Yep.
It was like, you were there when the light turned on. You were there when digital printing came out in the world. It was a little fuzzy when it first came out.
Very much so. Yep.
And when they came to the advertising agencies, we just looked at it and was like, get it out of here. Like, nobody in an advertising agency is going to accept fuzzy print. So if you called somebody who didn't have anything, they would be like, you're absolutely right. You never want to use that. But as soon as they got the equipment, the story changed. So I created an educational program for the print customers in the advertising agencies that had nothing to do with the printers, and just said, there's new technology out in the world. It's the paper companies, the ink companies, and the press companies are all working together now because of this inkjet technology, which uses water and ink. I mean, they can't even get their mind around it, and all the different toner devices and offset too. But if you want to get the best business and creative results, then you should know what the ecosystems are. And that's all we did. We were educating major financial companies about inkjet printing. They had never heard of it before. And these are people doing millions and millions of statements on.
Yeah.
So I still get phone calls from the people we visited asking me for resources. You mentioned a lot of things I do. So you want the last two or
Oh yeah, let's talk about them.
Okay. So International Print Day came about as a way to for everybody to celebrate what we do and share it with the world in a non-selly way, which is sometimes very hard for a lot of people out there. And so International Print Day became a 24-hour holiday where everybody came together and shared their love for print, whether it was work that they did for themselves, for their customers, for just cool things that were out in the world. This year, we always have a theme. So this year it is Print Smart. So with all of the AI coming into the world and all the software and workflow technology and companies like XMPie, for example, and Integro Designer, I mean, there's so many that you can really just expand your business and, more importantly, get to market faster and get an estimate in somebody's hands like in less than 3 days. I still don't,
That
right?
drives me up the
I mean,
wall, Deborah.
what in, I mean, I use this example all the time. I could be at a red light and order something and get it that day if I pay a little money, or certainly the next day. But yet I need to wait 3 days for an estimate, and then sometimes it comes back with a question, which means it's
Yeah.
not coming back that day. So
No.
it's going back in the queue. So it's just about so we want to celebrate print smart and let people know anybody who thinks that print is an antiquated medium is just misinformed. And I like to use the expression that the Eiffel Tower is really just a lamppost with some great PR. And that's what the printing industry is, right?
Yep,
We're a
yep.
lamppost, but we tell everybody we're a lamppost. And okay, the lamppost is working fantastic. But when the light is out, it's not, you can still function, you know what I mean? So we need to become like, oh my god, the light is out in the lamppost, that can't happen, we need that lamppost. Everybody work together to get that light fixed. So International Print Day is an opportunity for everybody to do that, not competing with each other, but just showing off all that they can do. And podcast from the Printerverse, more than 750 I think there's very close to 800 episodes. I was like, there's all this library of content, although I don't feel that anything prior to the uni year, which is what I call the pandemic, because it was so, I don't remember if it was 2020, 2021, 20, I never know. So I just say somewhere in the uni year, this happened. But I did start my podcast in 2018. So I was before that.
Mm-hmm.
But now there are so many people with relevant podcasts in the printing lane and in the print and marketing lane. And I have an extensive library of content that I do have to say is very relevant and entertaining and informative.
Oh, hands
And
down.
the radio station idea was a way for me to be able to extend the life of these podcasts. And also, as I mentioned, because so many people now have great podcasts out there, I know when I'm listening to one and it's over, now I stop everything I'm doing and I go to look for another one to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just having it, okay, I push this one button in the morning and then a variety of podcasts that I listen to it's like making a playlist of podcasts. So if you've got a podcast out there, I know I'm going to grab yours as soon as you send it over. But if anybody else is out there and you have a podcast that isn't about selling your products and services, you can have conversations around digital printing if you happen to own a digital printing company, or you sell digital printing equipment, but you can't say this is the Acme 33 and let's talk about the features, Deb.
Right.
Who wants to listen to that? So Print FM was born. It was just launched last month. There are currently 1,000 active listeners, which I think is amazing. And the stats are weird, Larry. They only tell me the top 5 countries every day. So I never see, like the other day I saw Bulgaria pop up and now it's gone. And I'm like, but are there still people listening from Bulgaria? So I need to contact the company and find out how to get a cumulative list of those countries. But obviously the United States has the most listeners.
Deborah and I both know people throughout the world, and probably pretty much any country you can possibly imagine. And living in Houston, I've got a lot of headquarters, especially on oil and gas, and they've got people and businesses all over the world and out in the middle of the ocean,
Oh,
and
yeah.
there's sometimes that they need print done in Bulgaria, or they need print done, over in the UK, or they need print done in Spain. Well, all I got to do is send an email or pick up the phone and call, hey, John, let me tell you what I got. I'm over in the UK. You might know John Bailey. And
Of
I
course.
said, this is what I need, and I need this printed, and this is when I need it, and the customers, they cannot believe the reach that I have. And they said, well, how much freight going to be? Well, the freight's not going to be anything, because all I need is a file, and then I'll take that file and I'll send it over there. And it was so amazing when I had to educate my customers on that, and price, they would always want to know what the price is, which they should, and some comments you made a while ago, Deborah, I have always found out that customers will not always pay my price for product, but they will always pay my price for service. No question. And that is one of the key points. And like I've told some of the sales guys that I've managed before, I said, you sell service, and that's what you sell. They don't care what kind of equipment you got, how you print it, or what all is done on it. They just want it done. They want it fixed. Because, a lot of the companies now, they lay people off, and they have to do more with less. And so you are replacing some of the employees that they have laid off. I
Mhm.
mean, it's a different world, Deborah. It really is. And you are one of the ones that have really stepped up and embraced that change. And the
I
people
I
see that.
appreciate I appreciate that, and I actually think there's a step further than the change you even just said, in the fact that, yes, customer service is crucial to
Mhm.
a relationship,
Yep.
but I believe that customer convenience is more important now. And that goes to, why do I need to speak to a person to order this? I just want to order it.
Right.
I just want to, and I just want, oh, what? I got to call someone to find how much this is. If I just go on this Vista site, anything I type in there, my price shows up and I know, oh, a varnish sounds nice. I click it. Okay, that one's a little too expensive. Oh, but I can afford that one. And they educate you, and perhaps it's set up so that there's a portal where your assets are stored and you could pay by credit card right then and there and set up your own delivery terms and maybe even get a text. Your file is okay. Everything is fine. Here's the tracking number for your package. That process makes a print customer sticky to the business, where the service will make me sticky to the salesperson. And if that salesperson leaves, I might move
Mhm.
or try to work with that salesperson, but I am never going to remove the process that gives me peace of mind at night, because I know what is going on, where everything is. And even if I'm just a civilian, not even a professional print customer, they only want convenience, and they don't understand what they even want. So the websites now are so important to be the first salesperson that a
Mhm.
customer or a prospect might come in contact with. So it needs to be a communication, an educational, a marketing, and a sales tool at the same time.
Yeah, because I've seen, and some of and we're going to identify printers. I mean, some of the printers, their website's terrible. I mean, you just look at it sometime, and boy, and they're explaining all this nice big equipment that they have, and then they're explaining all this. Well, that's fine and dandy to think you're going to try to impress the customer, but they don't care. They
And
want to
a lot of them don't know.
know. And they don't know. I
No.
mean, but basically, they just want to go online. They want an Amazon experience,
Exactly.
is
Or a
what they want.
Domino's experience. I know everything about my pizza. I know everything about it. I know who
Speaking of
made it.
pizza,
I
I'm
know
gonna
who.
have pizza tonight.
I'm just saying, they even inspect it. They tell me who's inspecting it. I'm like, all right, inspect it from a distance, sir. I don't want your fingers in my pepperoni, but you know, it's crazy. And
But
I get it. The printers don't want everyone knowing how the sausage is made. And I don't disagree with that at all. But there are key moments that you can give people peace of mind. We received your file. That's that I'm sitting there like this until I've got a confirmation, a something knowing that they have it. That's the first step. Next step, we've checked your file and everything is good to go. Now I don't really care what happens until the date that it's coming due. Hey, everything's fine. The job is finished. Here's your tracking number. Have a great day. Or we ran into an obstacle. We couldn't get the substrate. So this might push your job a day unless you want to change it. And here's the options of what you can change it to. And if you're in the same neighborhood, I can come over and give you samples. Or if there's extra time, I can send you overnight a package so you can see what they are. But that all has to be part of it now.
What burns me up, just like you said a while ago, it takes 3 days to do a quote. I mean, come on. And then when we finally get a quote and we send it to the customer, and usually there's questions, so might delay it, a little bit. But then the customer finally, they do give us the order, amazingly. And we get the order and we get the file and then we send it back there. And then the file sits there for 2 or 3 days. And then they have to let the customer know, says, oh, well, the file doesn't work right. It's not set up right. Well, why didn't you check the thing when the job came in? Or in your quote, explain this is the type of file that you need. Oh, it's just nuts how we just step over our own feet.
I can tell you that I was at a wide format show and I saw In Focus there. And I was like, this is interesting. I've never seen In Focus at a wide format show. So I walked over there. I was like, hey guys, why are you at a wide format show? And they said, you want to know how wide format gets proofed? I'm like, yeah. And he pointed to a monitor, goes, that's it right there. The wide format printers look at a monitor. If the art is there, they print. Except that lots of stuff can go wrong with that, like overprinted letters that don't show up, and they don't know that till 10 feet out.
Yep.
So they're starting to, these are the tools that make for customer convenience. The print shop might feel that it's workflow related, but I say anything that speeds up the workflow is a customer convenience, and you should tell everybody that you have this customer convenience. If you're not a professional production artist or designer specialist, the people who actually make the files, which are not always the designers,
Right.
we've got you.
Yeah, I mean,
We've got the technology. We've got you. We don't have to tell you what it is. We're just going to say we've got you. Because, Larry, they're not going to charge me to fix my file anyhow.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Nope.
And, I've always said in that time frame, we have created our own rush
Oh, yeah.
internally. The customer needs it on Tuesday. Now we've been farting around, and for 3 or 4 days, and then finally, hey, we're not going to be able to meet that delivery. Oh, yes, you are. I don't care what you do. If we got to work overtime, whatever, that delivery will be met. And of course, that's the salesman's responsibility, that he has to get up and step up and say, hey, no, and don't be, browbeat when you go back into the production area. So it's
but that's how the
absolutely
printers lose their margins on
Yep.
time and human
Oh,
touches.
hands down. You're
Yeah.
exactly right. And there's not as much margin as there used to be. I can tell you that for quite a bit. Something I want to talk to you about. I know 2 things that you and I agree on and promote and always try to do. Of course, that's the collaboration. And I've told several guys that I talk to, and some of them have said, "Larry, you tell too much." I said, "No, I don't. I don't at all." I said, "We all need to work together. There's enough business out there for both of us, and so let's just go ahead and just talk to each other. What makes things best for each other, that we're able to make money, and get business." And I have set up, and I keep telling the guys too, I've got a local network of printers that I utilize. Equipment breaks down, it doesn't fit our press. I need it in the time frame that the customer said that they told me on. Got a local, state, national, and world network that I can rely on. And I'm just a little, printer in Texas, but I'm global.
But you're not, and that is an unfair characterization of you that might make other people think they can do that. But you have 40 years of building up those relationships, of
That's true.
being on boards of global printing organizations. But what I will say is that is where technology and the networks come into play, like the gelatos that are out there and the cloud printers and things like that, where honestly, you don't have to even have salespeople. If your technology is set up to receive the orders and the quality standard delivery times that are set, then I have been told you literally turn on the computer in the morning and it will send you the orders that you have to do. And if you get too busy, you can turn it off. It's kind of like going to one of those Brazilian steakhouses where you green it or red it, like depending upon how much steak you like.
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
can fit in one more bite of that.
I love it.
There's always that sirloin is always the best one. So
Yeah.
when that comes around, I can't resist. But until you put it on red and you're like, I can't take it anymore. Not even one thin mint. I don't know if you know that from Monty Python, but um, so that is really, again, that is serving not just B2B customers, but the B2C customers that are ordering stuff from 800, get me a blanket with my pet's face on it.com. They don't have printing equipment. They have storefronts.
That's exactly
TikTok
that's
is
exactly right.
literally filled with just resellers. They're shippers. They get
Yes.
stuff from overseas and they ship it out and they put their markup on it, and that's the end of it. Well, that is where we're moving to. And
Oh, no question.
there is so much money in that if you think about it, because you're just sitting back and taking orders. And if you have a specialty, you're going to get all those orders.
Yep. Yep. Oh, you there is no question on that. The other thing I want to talk to you about, I think that that I mentor a lot, and I call them kids, they're young
Oh.
adults, but I mentor the living dickens out of them, to educate them
You're
about
gonna get mentored.
so I tell Aubrey all the time, you need to listen to me. You
Yeah.
know what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple of mentees on the show, which has have been great. But what I have found out, and printing companies are the same way. What I found out that these kids, they know nothing about finance. They know
Oh,
nothing about money. They know nothing about investments. They really don't. Or how to borrow money, or how they should borrow money, how they should buy a house, or homeowners insurance. They know nothing about that. And it's just amazing that they didn't learn this from their home.
I
And the
mean,
school, the up to the 12th grade, they don't teach any of that.
no, I mean, I don't even know how to write a business plan. I'm gonna tell you this. I mean, thank God ChatGPT came around, because the other day I was like, how do I write a business plan? But I agree with you 100%. I just want to say it's not just the younger people. There's a lot of people who unfortunately should have known businesses.
But it was,
Like, I'm a
since
great worker, but I shouldn't be running things.
you said something that I didn't think we are going to talk about, but we're going to talk about it now. AI is an absolute amazing tool, especially for me. Being dyslexic, and just have a hard time reading. Of course, I can spell anything. But golly, I use Perplexity, and
Oh, lovely.
that's the format
You
that I use.
okay?
Well, I can go to it, and well, matter of fact, Aubrey and I were we had a meeting yesterday. I think that's what it was. And Aubrey I'm sorry, folks, is the producer of the Larry Vaughn Show, and
She's very
so
technically savvy, everybody.
oh, she's smart as a whip. I'm gonna tell you that. And but it's just amazing, of what all that you can do. I love it. I
Yeah.
mean, ask it anything and it will tell you how to build
Yeah.
a business plan.
Yeah,
I need to know
absolutely.
what's the
Yeah.
best exercise for my back.
Yeah. I can't even tell you, it has become my IT tech. It
Yep.
has become my Mac genius, Apple
Yep.
genius. The other day, I got rid of my cable finally, Larry. I mean, it was like, I don't even want to tell you how much money I was paying. But when my 80-year-old mother said, "Why don't you have YouTube TV?" I was like, "Oh my God." So I was like, okay. And then I had to ask her how to do it. So that's how
Oh my
far behind
God.
I got. But I wanted to figure out the remote control situation because now I had a Apple TV and the regular TV and YouTube TV, and I was like, it's too complicated. I took a photo of my remote control. I uploaded it to I use ChatGPT more,
Yeah.
and I was like, based on this remote control, because I didn't want to go behind my television with the flashlight and find this, what kind of brand it was. So I took a picture of the remote control and I'm like, figure this out for me. The next day, because of customer convenience, it was 10 o'clock at night. It's like, if you order this within the next 13 minutes, you could get it tomorrow. Boom, at my door, working.
Wow.
And it even picked one that I didn't. You ever get one that you have to program with the TV and know the code for
Oh
the
yeah, I
television?
can't do that.
No,
Yeah.
me either. I was like, I don't need. Why do I need a degree from MIT to use a remote control? This one had, if you have an LG TV, push this button. If you have a Samsung TV, push this button, and one other button for another brand. I push it, boom, it worked. I'm like, I got my $20 worth from that thing
Oh
just on
yes.
on that alone,
Yeah.
let alone everything else that it can help people do. But you have to be very careful, especially if you're asking it for facts. Just check the facts. I have uploaded transcripts from podcasts, which it's a great tool for that. You give it the podcast and say, okay, let me have a summary for the website. Let me have a couple of social media shares. And I will tell you that I always futz with it a little, to give it some humanness. But I
Mhm.
put transcripts in there and information has come out. And I'm like, did I upload the right transcript? Like, where is it getting this information from? And sometimes it's called hallucinating and it loses its mind,
Yep.
its
Yep.
digital mind, and it
Yep.
makes up facts. So just
Oh,
check everything.
it,
But I never even thought how significant something like that would be for you. Probably text to speech too. Speech to
oh,
text is probably your best friend too.
I mean, I love AI. I really
Yeah.
do. When I first started using it, I used one called Writer. Very simple, that you got a platform of about 10 to 15 things that you could work with, and say, well, I want to talk about housing, and then say, well, I want to tell people in a humorous content, and you go through there and it gives you three examples, to take and pick from. And so when I wrote a blog or when I wrote something, where that's what I used. And so every year I write a letter note to my grandbabies when they go off to camp. And they always read it on a Wednesday. I write each one, because they're twins, and I write each one of them one. So every year, boy, I mean, I struggle to write one out and everything and all that. And so year before last, I went to AI. I said, what is it like going to a church camp during the summer? Now I had to go in, make a couple changes, and had to put their name on it and everything. And you'd have to meet the twins. I mean, they are so dadgum smart, and Briley, she said, Paul, you didn't write that. Hey, yes, I did. I told them, but no, it's a tool. I mean, everybody should use it and learn how to use it and use it however it would help them,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, I just really think it's just a wonderful thing to have, on that. So, and I've even talked to the mentees, and I've talked to them about doing that, using it. The other thing, of course, it kind of extends into your world. Another company that just came to mind as I was talking to you is Canva.
Hmm.
That has exploded, and I think that lady's name is Melanie, and she went to in Australia. She went to 100+ venture capitalist groups and trying to get money for her idea. Finally, it was like the 101st. They finally said, "Yeah, we'll go with your idea." Well, she's a billionaire.
Of course.
You know, uh,
I
now,
remember. I know, but it goes back to customer convenience.
Oh, yes. I mean, because they take it and then say you want some type of artwork. Well, do you want this artwork to fit in, to YouTube? Do you want this to be Instagram? Do you want this to be on an iPhone? And they ask you all that, and then it formats whatever the artwork is to what you've asked it to do instantly,
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's crazy. And now they got AI connected to Canva. So I mean, it's just crazy.
This is what I will say though. I I have been trying to find somebody to help me create specs for AI generated art so it could be printed. All these people are generating all these digital files and have all the fun you want. You think you're going to turn that into a giant pillow with your pet on it? Not happening. So the printing industry has not embraced this in any way beyond how can we use it to make more sales? How can we use it for social media posts? How can we use it for blog posts? How can we use it for prospecting correctly? What are the value propositions of ours that would fit these prospects? Or how can we do more work with our current customers? Let's throw their website in there and do an analysis of our emails and our conversations with them and all of that. But we're still leaving the education about what to do with those files to, I call it phygital, from making things digital physical. So I
Yeah.
didn't make up the term, but
Phygital, that's
that's
good.
phygital. I didn't make it up. I'm not taking credit for making it up, but that's what I refer to it. So all those people I mean, look, I did it too. I turned myself into a Muppet. By the way, Larry, I am the cutest freaking
Oh,
Muppet.
you are. I've seen
Oh
you.
my God. I am such a good Muppet. I should be a Muppet. My hair is so good that I want my Muppet hair. I can't even tell you. I love this. I'm going to send it to
Oh,
you just so you can enjoy
when when
yourself.
when I saw that, I mean, it's the hair, the glasses, the everything. I mean,
Oh God.
you
So you could do funny things with it, but that's all I'm doing with it unless I can go somewhere and as I'm prompting it, here's my picture, turn me into a Muppet. However, it needs to be this resolution, this size, this whatever it might be, so that it can be printable. Or even get into a situation where the AI has been integrated into websites and say, you can create this art on our site. Once you send them off to Canva or anybody else like that, there is the opportunity to be in their ecosystem for printing it out
Yep.
instead of your own. So, Canva gives you a file. And I'm not sure if they've gone to the print with us thing yet, because I don't really use Canva, but if they haven't, then all they're doing is giving people a bunch of PDFs that printers are dealing with the aftermath of that instead of leading the charge. We cannot make people stop doing it. It's like when the industry lobbyists rail against digital statements. I'm like, do you really want to be the old guy on the lawn yelling, "Get off my lawn, kids"? And how many of you get paper statements versus, well, it is how society moves along. I'm sure the people who sold horses were a little upset when cars came around, right? But
That's true.
everybody got over it, except in Texas, where you're probably still riding to the grocery store on Trigger or whatever it is. But you know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
there's so much out there, and print doesn't live in its own channel, especially now. The world is digital first. Hi, everybody out there. I'm sorry if this is a shock to you, but digital first. So if you want print in that mix, how can it be integrated into that world so that it's seamless?
That's a good point. And I can't answer it, you know? So,
Oh,
but
does that mean I win? I
you
won
win.
them.
Yep, yep, yep,
Okay, I win.
yep. You surely do.
I like winning.
Oh my God. So do I. And like I always say, especially when I'm talking to my wife, Jody, she told me to tell
I
you hi.
love Miss Jody.
And
Don't mess with Miss Jody.
she said, she's Italian. Boy, she can get after it sometimes. I said, as long as we disagree agreeably,
Yeah.
let's just leave it there.
Yeah.
No, but she likes to win.
Well,
You know?
and I'm sure she does, because how could she ever be wrong? What did she say to you when you retired? That's lovely. As long as you find something to do from 8 to 5 every day, enjoy
Oh
yourself.
yeah. She said, I don't care if you're retired. Just make sure you're out of the house by 8 and don't come on till 5. I
Go
am not
enjoy
a short
yourself.
order cook.
No, go fishing. Do whatever you want, as long as you're not in my house.
Get out of here. That's exactly right. But Deborah, God dog it, we're going to have to do this again.
Oh,
I mean, I
twist my
love
arm.
talking to you, and every time we get together, we just sit down and get off. Even when we're at conferences, we get off on our own table and get down there and just talk about, odd and end things and talk about people. We give them a chance too. We want to make sure we get
Yeah.
burn their ears, on that. But I'm telling you, I'm just tickled to death that you came on my show.
I'm so happy that it came around to manifest in the world. We have been speaking about this for a while. Took a minute because you had a little speed bump there, but now it is up and running, and I'm so proud of you. I love the logo. I
Oh,
had logo
thank you.
review, everybody. I got to review the logo. I fully approve of that logo, and I'm so proud of you that you did what you set out to do, and a lot of people do not follow up with that. So congratulations on your podcast. I have to have you live on the radio. Aubrey can come too if she wants.
Oh, hands down. I'd love to have her, but I'm going to tell you something right now. It took me 2 years to get this done. Of course, I was telling people all the time, and, people get to thinking, yeah, okay. And, but it wasn't until I got the right crew. And, of course,
Exactly.
Annette, Annette. I mean, she'd been
Mhm.
with me. Oh my God, she's been with me probably 30 years. And, she helps me, and does the correspondence with the future disc guest and sets all that up. And then Aubrey, she's the whiz about everything and set it all up. But whoa, when I got those two, I saw what I had and I said, okay, we're going to push go. It's fixing to happen,
Yeah.
So we all buckled down and went over it. And by God, will you come this coming Monday on September 8th? That is the day that it all comes out.
Wonderful. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to hosting your podcasts on the radio station if you're interested, and certainly having you there. And I am more than happy to come back anytime you want. And if you certainly come on my podcast, and we'll talk about your podcast so we could promote it as well.
I tell you, I'd love it. I surely would. Well, it's been a delight as always, Deborah. Seeing you again. I love you to death,
Larry.
and it's just always fun.
Larry's my big text. He checked on me during COVID a lot. He was
Wow.
very good, very kind gentleman. Thank you, sir, for
Oh, you're a
everything
doll.
you've done for me over the years and everything you've done for the
Uh,
industry. You are a legend. Don't speak poorly of yourself.
All right, sweetie. Well, we're going to have you on next time. Till then.
Okay. Print long and prosper.
Yes, ma'am. Goodbye.
If you're enjoying The Larry Vaughn Show, don't forget to give the episode a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell to ensure you never miss a new episode.